Hey everybody, welcome into a Flyers game preview. I'm Kevin Durso. Tonight the Flyers are on the road for the first time this season to face the Boston Bruins. Before getting started, this video is brought to you as part of Flyers coverage on sportstalkphilly.com and the YWT podcast. Get all of your Flyers coverage at sportstalkphilly.com. Follow me on Twitter at Kevin_Durso and find more coverage from me over at 973ESPN.com. And be sure to listen and subscribe to the YWT podcast. So the Flyers are coming off of a 3-0 win on Tuesday night against the Buffalo Sabres. Really strong performance to bounce back from that 6-1 loss on Monday. They get back into the win column. That's obviously a huge success for them as well. And to start 3-1 on the season is a big deal. It's a shortened season. You don't have a lot of time to build up a strong start. 3 wins in your first 4 games is a good start no matter how you look at it. Is the play on the ice perfect? No. But at the same time, you're trying to deal with a bunch of different factors. You're trying to get back into a rhythm without a preseason. You're trying your best to do everything you can to look as sharp as possible. And you got everything you wanted out of this game. You got timely goals. Your top goal scorer, in my opinion, Travis Konecny, continues to do what he does best and be part of a productive offense. Continues to give what you expect from him. You get a timely goal from Jake Voracek off of a 2-on-1. Brian Elliott was outstanding in this game. So collectively, you get all of these pieces that work out for you. You go out and you get a win in a game that you really needed to have a strong performance. Now, the downside of that, you suffered 2 more injuries in this game, and both of them appear to be longer term. Phil Myers left in the first period of this game. He did not return, obviously. He's now out week to week with a fractured rib. That's a huge loss to a defensive core that already is experiencing some difficulties getting into a rhythm, some difficulties filling the void of Matt Niskanen, having to already play without some of the forward support they get from Sean Couturier. And now you lose a guy who's been part of your top 4 for the better part of the last year, especially so far this season. So that's already a huge loss. Then Morgan Frost leaves the game too. He has a dislocated shoulder. He's out indefinitely. And while, look, on paper, I don't think Morgan Frost is a huge loss for this team because he was already slotted in as the 13th forward. He was a replacement for Sean Couturier. To keep having to replace a guy like that, now the guy who's replacing Sean Couturier is not Morgan Frost, it's Connor Bunnaman. And I'm not taking anything away from Connor Bunnaman and his ability to play in a 4th-line role probably really well, but someone else has to fill the void moving forward at the top of the lineup, and you continue to have to try to find that. I'm curious to see how the lines look for this game. I suspect that we will see Nolan Patrick, Oscar Lindblom, and Travis Konecny together because they worked so well together in the previous game. I wouldn't be surprised if you see them go back to a part of the lineup as the first 2 games, Kevin Hayes centering Claude Giroux and Joel Farabee, and it leaves Scott Lawton to move up into the top 9 to center James Van Riemsdyk and Jake Voracek. That would be a lineup that I would potentially expect to see. I don't know what they're going to do specifically, so we will see how they decide to stack it up. What we also know is that Mark Friedman's coming in for Phil Myers. He's going to be paired with Robert Haig, which means Justin Braun's going to probably go up into where Myers had played alongside Eric Gustafsson. Travis Sanheim was playing with Ivan Provorov. So those are some of the things that we'll look for as everything progresses with this game. And look, don't take anything away from the Boston Bruins either. They've come out struggling as well because they only have 3 goals in their first 3 games, and that's not a good rate to have, obviously. They're trying to make up for the lack of scoring that they have without a guy like David Pastrnak. So they're doing what they can to try to make up for it. What they are getting is good goaltending, and goals against for them have been hard to come by as well. So to win a game 3-2 in a shootout, they gave up 2 goals in that first game against New Jersey. They lost a game 2-1 to New Jersey in overtime, and they lost 1-0 to the Islanders. That's not bad when you're giving up 2 goals a game at most, So it means that scoring could be at a premium in this game, or needs to be at a premium, I should say, for the Flyers to really have some success. So they need the best out of everybody, and that's a good way to segue into tonight's goaltending matchup, the projected goaltending matchup for this game. And what you're looking at, more than likely, Carter Hart's confirmed to go in this game for sure, and he's trying to bounce back from Monday. Not a good game for anybody on that team, but certainly Carter Hart expects to be better than that, and he'll be looking to bounce back, and it's a good challenge for him to play a team that's much more touted in this division, a team that people think is going to rank near the top of the division. So that's always a good thing for him. Then you look at the other side, Tuukka Rask, and Rask is a guy who has had a number of years of success against the Flyers. He's been outstanding against them several times in his career, obviously. And so far this season, he's off to a really strong start. Ignore the record, ignore the 1-1 record, and kind of ignore the Bruins 2-1, or I'm sorry, 1-2 record, 1-1 across the board. Ignore that, because the Bruins are a better team than what you're seeing. They're kind of just getting back into rhythm. They're trying their best to kind of figure things out without one of their top players too, kind of like the Flyers are. They're kind of trying to figure it out and find ways to win. This is going to be a challenge for both sides then, because both sides are trying to find ways to win without something that they didn't have, that they had the previous year. The Bruins don't have their top goal scorer. The Bruins don't have two defensemen who played in key roles for them in the previous year. They're trying to figure that out. The Flyers don't have their top line center. The Flyers don't have a top four defenseman. They're trying to figure it out as well. So whichever team finds a way is going to be the one that comes out on top. And you're in for a good goalie matchup with this one, because this is, in my opinion, these are two of the best goaltenders in the division, bar none. And I think that you're going to see Carter Hart be better than he was on Monday. You're going to see what's usually advertised out of Tuukka Rask, and it should be a really good, close game, low scoring perhaps, and that could make for some really exciting hockey. Let's go to the players to watch in this game tonight. And for the Flyers, I picked Travis Sanheim for this one. And the reason I did is because Travis Sanheim really stepped up and filled the void for the Flyers when Phil Myers left the game, when they were down to 5 defensemen on Tuesday. He plays over 25 minutes, jumps up into a top pairing role, and that's where we expect to see him again tonight. And I wouldn't be surprised if he plays significant minutes again. He was outstanding in that Tuesday game, making a lot of strong defensive plays. I want to see if he can continue that in this game. He's also had some offensive success against the Bruins as well in previous years. He has an overtime game winner in Boston during his rookie season, or I'm sorry, it was in his 100th NHL game. So it wasn't his rookie year, but it was his second season. And as he continues to take developments and make bigger strides, this is an opportunity for him to show just how strong of a defenseman he is in all situations, not just having some offensive skill, not just being a good skater, but being a good defensive player. On the other side, for the Bruins, I picked Brad Martian, and I picked Brad Martian because this is a guy who has been involved in the scoring completely for the Bruins. They have 3 total goals on the season. He scored 1. He's assisted on the other 2. He's a huge presence on the power play. He's a huge presence as things get down the stretch of a game, whether it's late third period or especially in overtime. You can't discount what he means to this team in terms of his hard-nosed play, his ability to go to the dirty areas, to get under the skin of the opponent, and to be a guy who's always around the net, looking for the opportunity to either score a goal or set one up. This is an opportunity. Boston's kind of been sitting on these last couple results for a few days now. They lost their second game of the season to New Jersey in overtime. That's one of them, obviously. And then to lose on Monday, 1-0, a late third period goal that decides the game. I think that doesn't sit well with them for another 2 days, where they haven't won a game since the opener in a shootout, and they're still trying to figure some things out. So expect somebody like Brad Marchand to really have high energy in this game, to take things to another level, and to try to be as energetic as possible to make this team successful, because right now they're struggling for goals without Pastrnak. And I assume that also has to do with a lot of players on this team continuing to get older, needing more time to maybe get into a rhythm. It's an opportunity for a lot of the younger Flyer players who maybe are starting to find that stride a little bit sooner than others to step up and maybe have a huge game. I think the Bruins are looking for guys to do that as well. They're looking for a Jake DeBrusk who's also playing alongside Patrice Bergeron and Marchand while Pastrnak is out. They're looking for somebody like that to step up and be a huge presence. They're looking for Charlie McAvoy to be the leader of the blue line at this point. They're looking for a lot of that. And whichever team seems to find it first in this game is going to be the team that comes away on top. And I think something for the Flyers that's important moving forward right now is trying to survive as best you can without some of these top guys. It's not going to always look pretty. It's certainly not going to look pretty when you take a guy out of your top 4 defensively and take away your top line center, who's a reigning Selke Trophy winner, who gives you so much at both ends of the ice. It's not going to look pretty. But what you do need is to figure out what you can do at this point to weather that storm, to survive to the next game, to keep piling up some early season wins, maybe when other teams don't have their best either. That's why I think this is an opportunity for the Flyers. The Bruins clearly are missing a top player. They're clearly not scoring at a high rate. This could be an opportunity, even without certain guys in your lineup, to challenge this team and to see if you can't continue to pile up some wins early in the season, because if you can, it will go a long way down the stretch in the season. So that's our game preview. Check back here after the game. Kyle Collington will have a post-game video for you. I'll be back with you before the next game on Saturday night when the Flyers face the Bruins again. Until then, you can catch up with the latest episode of the YWT podcast. We'll be getting ready for a new show coming up on Sunday when we record. Once again, be sure to subscribe to the YWT podcast on YouTube. That'll allow you to be notified for all of these videos, our previews, our recaps, and of course, whenever a new podcast episode debuts. Be sure to follow along during tonight's game. I'll have coverage on Twitter at Kevin_Durso. Game updates will be over at Flyerdelphia on Twitter. And you can check out my game preview before the game and post-game recap and 5 takeaways over at sportstalkphilly.com and 97.3 ESPN.com after the game. With that, enjoy tonight's game, and we'll see you next time for the next Flyers game preview.